You wanna look as big and ripped at the same time as David Laid, but naturally? Listen, I will tell you the exact same things that I did to be able to go from this at 14 to have the same amount of muscle as David Laid himself at just 16 years old, but also completely natural. Okay, so the first thing I did was taking the gym seriously from the beginning, going 6 days a week and training as my life really depended on it. Yes, you have to really fall in love with the sport from the start to get any kind of results. If not, it will be impossible to even get in good shape. So once you're fully committed to getting to the best shape you could be, I will tell you the best routine to have an aesthetic body, focusing on the upper body and specifically in the muscles that make your body look aesthetic. And to look aesthetic, we have to look like a Dorito. And these muscles are obviously the delts, lats, abs, chest, arm, and traps in this order. Now I'll tell you the exact same split that took me from this at 14 to this at 16 years old, even with some improvements to save you months. And okay, so the first day is chest day, along with delts and triceps. If we want to have an aesthetic chest, we have to focus almost all our work in the upper part of the chest to really look filled with a tank. So we are going to train it at the beginning of the workout. I like to do this incline press machine and alternate it every 1 or 2 weeks with incline bench press in a Smith machine. And I do 3 sets of 2 drop sets on each, reaching true failure at around 12 to 15 reps to really fill the upper chest and also getting an insane pump right from the beginning. My recommendation to really grow your chest is to always prioritize technique over weight.
Control the weight, fast but controlled concentric, slow eccentric instead of just trying to get the weights from A to B and to A. You aren't a CrossFitter, hopefully. Feel your muscle on every rep. Then I do some flat heavy presses like this machine or a flat bench and Smith machine to give our chest volume and density. I do 2 sets with 1 drop set on each, also reaching true failure but this time at around 8 reps, so I go really heavy as I said in this exercise because I really want my chest to be filled with blood and finally I also hit but with less importance the lower chest with some cable exercises focusing this part of the muscle or, if there is people using the cables I simply do pec deck and I forget about the lower chest. It is supposedly to give that round shape to our chest, the lower chest line that makes it so aesthetic but we all know that it is all about body fat percentage and not just hitting this exercise, but it is also necessary to include abduction exercises for the chest so I do it. I include 3 sets of 12 reps with assisted reps when I have reached failure from my girlfriend, until I have done another 12 or if she isn't with me I do a drop set. Now we move on to delts. We are going to start with lateral raises in this machine. If you haven't this in your gym you can just do 6 sets with a drop set on the last 3 of lateral raises with dumbbells. It is almost the same but the axis of this machine makes the movement a bit more nature because it aligns better with the fibers of our side deltoid, and that's what we want, to develop our shoulders to be truly broad. If this is too much volume for your genetics and they can't afford that amount of sets, just reduce them but believe me that almost everyone can do this split. Then I usually do some shoulder press, preferably on a guided machine to control each rep even more to have a big front delt and give it that 3D shape. And I do 2 or 3 sets with a drop set each and always in the range of 12 to 15 reps to failure. And then I move on to the rear delt. I don't train them as much as I have to, but I try to do 3 sets of reverse flies in the pec deck. It is also an important muscle to give our shoulder that rounded shape. And to end this workout I do my specific triceps workout which I have made a video about, video in the description or here. And I end doing 3 sets of disc leg raises or ab crunches till I feel them burning. Now the second day, legs. I am not going to talk very much about the lower body, because what people pay least attention to in an aesthetic physique is the legs, so I'll just give you my leg workout. I do 2 sets with an insane intensity, apart from the warming up sets, like 4 drop sets on each to absolute failure and pendular squat, leg press or hack squat. I alternate them every week, and then I do 4 sets also to the highest intensity possible of leg X10, like Tom Plotz. Then I move on to this exercise, I don't know its name, and I do 4 sets with a drop set on each always reaching failure at around 12 to 15 reps. And I end up doing leg curls, 3 sets with drop set, and then seated leg curls, also 3 sets with drop set. Train calves, I won't. Day 3, back, biceps and forearms. If you really want to have an aesthetic body like David Laid, back day must be the day you have to give it all. It is the PLR for having a Greek god physique. I start doing pull-downs with this handle to focus the lats and the amplitude and really grow those wings. I focus on squeezing as much as I can on every rep and I try really to feel the lats. I do 3 or 4 sets with a drop set on each and again I always go to failure. Back is the muscle group that will actually give you an aesthetic body for that Dorito shape. Then I move on to a pullover with the rope handle. Some people do it unilateral, but I prefer to do it with both hands so I can do more sets in less time and then use the time to hit biceps more carefully. And I do 3 sets with 2 drop sets each because it is easy to go far with the intensity on this exercise, and again I try to squeeze as much as I can and prioritize technique over weight please, more on a pullover with it's hard to get technique. And finally I end up doing seated cable rows and I do 3 sets with 2 drop sets each, always to failure if you really want to get those results as fast as possible. Believe me, intensity is what will give you them. Always in the range of reps for hypertrophy from 12 to 15. I end up doing bicep curls with dumbbells. Lately I am feeling my arms grow so fast since I started using free weights instead of machines for arms. But anyways I do both beginning with bicep dumbbell curls, and what I do is when I have reached failure, I change it to a hammer curl and when I can't literally move the weights, I drop them, pick lighter ones and do the same again. This will give you massive arms. Believe me and leave a like because that's one of my program's exercises, it is top tier. I will do this sequence 4 times. Now day 4 will consist of the same exercises of day 1, but we are going to hit delts at the beginning, then chest and finally triceps. Day 5 will consist of the same leg day exercises from day 2, but we are going to start with hamstring doing the leg curls, then adductor and finally the quads, and then train calves. And day 6 will be the same back day of day 3 but we are going to start with rows, then pull over and finally lat pull downs and biceps. Yes, I have to train forearms and traps and even neck, but if you want to look aesthetic you don't need to, and forearms are trained hard enough in back day. This workout will work for you and every man in the planet, but if you really want to mutate as a human being like I did without any anabolic substance, contact me through the email in the description to have a $20 program to become a mutant teenager. I will lead the way your workouts go and your diet to achieve your dream physique as soon as possible. Now we are going to end up talking about the diet and how are you going to achieve the muscle mass and definition of the fitness influencer with the most aesthetic body in the world. I wish I could tell you that it's easy and fast, but if you really want to look like them, you'll first have to get into a strict bulk stage for about 2 years to finally get into a cut. If you want to calculate your calories needed to bulk, in the description you have a calculator that will do it for you. Just fill it in with your weight, height, age and daily physical activity so that it tells you the calories you need to gain mass muscle, and inevitably some fat. I sincerely recommend that you do it controlled and slightly increase the calorie intake, except if you are a teenager who has not eaten in your life. In that case I recommend you to start like me. Eat as much as you can and then start managing and controlling a lower caloric intake, to finally after 2 years, and believe me this is the harsh reality and that if you cut before you will be in your bones, so listen to me. It's a sad truth. But think that if you're 14 you can see yourself like that at just 16 years old. It's the dream of many people, it was mine and I got here, but since it's so complicated and requires so much dedication and perseverance at such an immature age, that a very few people get it, naturally, not the 50 stupid rich kids on TikTok. But remember, if it was easy, everyone would look like this. And we are going to do the same with the following cut, but to cut I recommend to go in a very controlled calorie deficit, so that you don't go hungry. And it doesn't feel so complicated or difficult because, believe me, I'm having a terrible time right now because I'm really cutting, but I've cut calories suddenly and I'm really starving. But I've lost 3 kilos in 2 days, but I really don't wish this on anyone, least of all on someone who surely, if he is watching a video like this, doesn't have the physical discipline to even just work out constantly. Now I've told you the keys that got me from being the skinniest guy in my classroom at 14 to achieving David Lade's physique. Please subscribe and leave a like and don't be afraid of contacting me through the email in the description to prepare you the cheapest and smartest program in the world. Hugs, goodbye.